So who here has ever woken up, gone to the bathroom, looked into the mirror and thought, ooh, that needs improvement? Or my hair looks bad today. Show of hands. Okay. So who here has actually woken up and been like, wow, look at that hunk, or wow, look at that guy, that champion in the mirror right there. Now, it doesn't matter whichever way you wake up, either way, it's most likely that someone else sees you differently than you see yourself. So my name is Nick Carlton and I'm a sales management trainee for Enterprise. Now first allow me to introduce myself. I've moved back and forth between Dallas and Chicago my entire life. Born in Plano and moved to Chicago for first and second grade, moved back to Dallas third and fourth grade, different school in Dallas for fifth through freshman year of high school, and then back up to Chicago to finish high school. Then for my mom to move down when I went off to college, moved back down to Dallas. I never had any siblings, always been an only child. It was really boring growing up. I really always wish I had an older brother, but Christmas was always fun and I did get, all the presents, minus the dogs as well. So I went to the University of Alabama, Roll Tide, for 3.5 years. Ended up being a little too expensive, so I'm actually in the midst of transferring to Texas Tech or Texas State. Have any of y'all gone to Texas Tech or Texas State? Oh, okay, cool. So yeah, basically Texas Tech wanted me to stay 2 extra years. Decided not to. Went to Texas State instead, and I'll be going there in the fall. So now you know a little bit more about me. Your perspective might change as you get to know me better during the speech, and I'll be sharing 4 objects that better describe my life and my personality. So the first object that I have here is a Dallas Cowboys football. So this object actually resonates pretty well with me. There's quite a bit of history with this football here. I mean, even throughout moving, countless numbers of times this football was always in my room, and I remember when I was bored, I'd be laying on my bed just playing catch with myself. This also represents that basically I would use this football to throw it with my parents at a tailgate at Dallas Cowboys games when I was younger. So yeah, this football has a bunch of history to it and a bunch of memories that go along with it as well. So this brings me to my second object, and this object is one that you wouldn't necessarily expect and that I've told you nothing about so far. So this is actually a book that I wrote in the first grade, and not many people know that I've written a book. This is also on Amazon, and we published it years ago. Basically, I'm not really going around like flaunting a book that I wrote in first grade, but I don't necessarily keep it a secret. This is a big accomplishment for me. Yeah, so basically, I mean, it's not something that I'll tell someone when I first meet them, but later down the road, I'll be like, oh yeah, by the way, I have a book. At one point, my friends and I actually tried to market and sell this in high school to make a couple extra bucks. $10 a pop. We would just go around and see if anyone wanted it, and we even tried to get it into some elementary schools for their book fairs. I like to joke around and say that I peaked in the first grade. So it's a nice conversation starter. So my third object is something that basically someone thinks about me that I disagree with. So for this one, I'm using a picture of my fraternity composite as well as a fraternity shirt from the University of Alabama. Now, the reason why I chose these objects for this portion is because when I first meet people and they find out that I'm in a fraternity, they instantly get a stereotype of something from Old School or Animal House, the stereotypical fraternity guy who's, I don't care about this and everything, and that's not the case. I like to pride myself on being the opposite of a fraternity, stereotype frat guy. I like to consider myself a caring and respectful person to anyone that's the same to me, basically. So overall, joining fraternity is one of the best decisions I've made in life. I'll have lifelong friends, networking down the road, and it definitely doesn't define who I am. So for this last object here, speaking of friends, I had to call one up for this last object and see what someone else would have chosen to choose as my object to best describe me. So today I have a toy, and that's because my friend described me as a McDonald's Happy Meal. So at first I was confused when he said this. I was like, okay, yeah, I'm usually a pretty happy guy, I'm a pretty smiley guy. But I was like, okay, elaborate, tell me a little bit about why. And he said, so everyone loves a Happy Meal and not many people dislike you. I was like, wow, okay, thank you. He goes, you're accessible, like there's a McDonald's in every corner, I'm there whenever he needs me at any time. And the toy aspect, he said, I'm a wild card. He's like, I'm unpredictable, never know what to expect with me, but it's never a bad thing because at the end of the day, you're getting a toy. So now that you know a little bit about me and my core values, since the start of this speech, your perspective of me may have changed a little bit. I am just a loving guy who peaked in first grade, loves sports and the Dallas Cowboys, and prides myself on being just a lover to all. So thank you for spending time with me, and I'm looking forward to learning about you as well.